this video lecture, we will discuss the two important characteristics of a radio receiver, and that is the sensitivity and selectivity. So first of all, we will discuss what is the sensitivity of a receiver and how we can measure the sensitivity. So basically, if you see, so what is the sensitivity? Basically, the radio receiver is receiving the so many signals. Some of the signals are coming from the local station, some of the signals are coming from a very far distance. So the receiver is receiving the strong signal also, as well as also it is receiving the weak signal. Naturally, if the signal is a strong one, then the receiver will produce the output. But if the signal is weak, then the receiver is not able to produce the output. You are not able to receive the information. So here, what is the minimum input signal is required to receive the information, and that is called the sensitivity. So here the sensitivity is representing the ability of the receiver to amplify the weak signal. It is a ability of a receiver to amplify the weak signal. Correct? And it is measured in terms of voltage. It is measured in terms of voltage. So now this input voltage can be in order of a microvolt or a millivolt. It is also measured in terms of the dB. So voltage means you can measure the sensitivity. We can represent in terms of a microvolt or a millivolt, or it is also represented in terms of dB. Okay? So now let us see what is the standard definition for measuring the sensitivity. So whenever you want to measure the sensitivity, then at the input of the radio receiver, we have to apply a amplitude modulated wave. Now remember, amplitude modulated wave. Now this amplitude modulated wave should be of a 30% modulated. 30% modulation index must be a 30%. My modulating frequency we have to apply either a 400 Hz or it is a 1000 Hz. It is a standard definition. So this type of the modulated wave we have to apply at the input of a radio receiver. Then we change this amplitude of this input signal so that you can have a standard output. And what is the standard output? We have to apply the amplitude modulated wave. Then we are measuring the standard output. So the standard output for this AM receiver, and it is a 50 milliwatt. So for which input signal? The output of the radio receiver is a 50 milliwatt, and that is known as a sensitivity of a radio receiver. Suppose we have a radio receiver. If I will apply a input signal of a 10 microvolt, and here I am getting the output of a 50 milliwatt, then we can say that 10 microvolt is the sensitivity of the radio receiver. 10 microvolt is a sensitivity of the radio receiver. Now, if you have another receiver where if your input signal, required input signal is a, let us say, a 25 microvolt and which is producing the same output of a 50 millivolt, then the sensitivity of that radio is a 25 microvolt. So here now if you compare that the 10 microvolt radio that sensitivity is better or a 25 microvolt radio receiver has a sensitivity, it is better. So here you can see that if we have a radio which has a sensitivity of 10 microvolt, means the signal is very weak and also it is the radio is able to produce a standard output of 50 milliwatt, then here you can say the radio receiver which has a small value of the sensitivity, it is a better. Means this 10 microvolt radio receiver is better than the 25 microvolt radio receiver. So now let us see how we can measure the sensitivity. For the measurement of the sensitivity, the basic setup is like this. This is my radio receiver for which we want to measure the sensitivity. We have disconnected the loudspeaker. Instead of that, the load, resistive load RL is connected, and across the load resistance RL, a power meter is connected. Then we have to keep a volume control in a maximum position. Now, at the input, we have to connect a source. So, here the signal generator is connected. Now remember that in laboratory, we can have a AFO, then the function generator is there, then you can have a pulse generator, but this kind of the instrument you cannot use for measuring the sensitivity. Why? Because the AFO is going to generate a purely a sine wave. Function generator is generating a sine wave, also it is generating a square wave, it is generating a kind of a triangle wave, correct? But these are not a modulated signal. At the input of the receiver, we require a amplitude modulated wave, and that's why you require an instrument which is known as a signal generator. Now signal generator can be a AM type or it can be a FM type. If you are testing a AM receiver, then you require a AM signal generator, and this AM signal generator will generate a modulated wave like this. And that's why here at the input of the signal, input of the radio receiver, the signal generator is connected. Now remember, the signal generator has number of controls where you can change the carrier frequency, you can change the modulating frequency, you can change the modulation index, as well as you can change the amplitude of the modulated wave. Now according to the standard definition, what is the standard definition for applying the signal for testing the sensitivity? That input signal, remember, input signal must be a amplitude modulated wave, with a modulation index of 30% and the modulating frequency of 400 Hz. So, here in the signal generator, we have to set the modulation index. We have to set a modulation index of a 30% and the modulating frequency of a 400 hertz. Correct? So this setting is required. Then for whatever the frequency you want to, for whatever the receive frequency you want to measure the sensitivity, for that you have to tune the radio receiver. Suppose we want to find out the sensitivity at a carrier frequency Fc equal to a 950 kilohertz. Remember, in a radio we have a medium wave band. The medium wave band is from minimum is 530 kilohertz, maximum is 1640 kilohertz. So this is my medium wave range. And you have to find out the sensitivity for this range. So suppose I want to find out the sensitivity at a 950. So 950 kilohertz. And therefore, we have to tune the radio at 950 kilohertz. So at the input, whatever the tuning section is there, in say tuning section, the capacitor will be there. So you have to change the position of the capacitor such that the 950 kilohertz will be tuned. Second thing, that you kept this volume control in a maximum position. Now when you are tuning a radio for a 950 kilohertz, then in the signal generator also keep this carrier frequency Fc equal to a 950 kilohertz. So here it will generate a modulated wave like this, amplitude modulated wave of a 950 kilohertz with the modulating frequency of 400 hertz. Then between the radio receiver and the signal generator, we have one more component which is known as a dummy antenna. This is nothing but it is a coupling network. Remember, it is a coupling network. And why you require the coupling network? Because the output impedance of the signal generator and the input impedance of your radio receiver is not going to match. It is a different. And if the impedance will not be matched, then when the signal is transferred from the signal generator to the radio receiver, then there will be a loss of the signal. Basically here we apply the signal which is in order of a microvolt. And if there will be a loss of the signal, then you cannot measure the accurate value of a sensitivity. So without loss and without distortion, the signal has to transfer from a signal generator to the radio receiver. So to match the impedance between the two instruments, the dummy antenna is connected. It is nothing but it is a kind of a impedance matching device like a transformer. So without any loss, the signal is given to the radio receiver. So now what we have to do? That we set up the signal generator with the modulation index of 30%, modulating frequency of 400 Hz. My input frequency, carrier frequency is 950. Radio receiver is also tuned for a 950 kilohertz. So the radio is going to be accept or going to be a select the frequency which is coming from the signal generator. Now you change this control voltage. Here, whatever the amplitude of the modulated wave is there, that you can change with the help of this control. So you go on increasing the amplitude of your input signal. Suppose my input signal is a 5 microvolt. Then if we measure what is the output power? What is the output power? Then this output power is, let us say, a 10 milliwatt. But according to the definition, what is the standard output? That when we apply this thing, then the standard output power is a 50 milliwatt. Remember. Correct? So, the 5 microvolt is not sufficient to produce the 50 milliwatt output. So, now we have to increase the input signal. Let us say we make it a 10 microvolt. From this knob, by changing this position of this knob, we can increase this to a 10 microvolt. Let us say this is going to be produce a 20 milliwatt. This is also not sufficient. Here again, if we apply a 25 microvolt, and at this input, this radio receiver is generating a output power of a 50 milliwatt. So, my desired output power or the standard output power for the AM receiver is 50 milliwatt, and for the my required input signal is 25 microvolt. So, this 25 microvolt is known as the sensitivity of radio receiver. So, in this way, you can measure the sensitivity for a differentiation also. So, here we have measured the sensitivity at frequency what? The carrier frequency is 950 kilohertz. Now you can tune your radio for a 530 kilohertz. And again, you measure the sensitivity. Now when you tune your radio 530 kilohertz, at that time the signal generated carrier frequency has to be a 530 kilohertz. Then again you change this amplitude of the input signal and measure the sensitivity. Then you came to tune a radio for a maximum frequency, that is a 1640 kilohertz. Set the signal generated frequency 1640 kilohertz and measure the sensitivity. So normally, if you see the typical curve for the radio receiver sensitivity curve, it is like this. This is a typical curve, and here you can see that if we have a frequency of 530 kilohertz, somewhere here the frequency is 950 kilohertz, somewhere here this frequency is 1640 kilohertz, then the sensitivity is go on changing. Here, let us say this sensitivity is a 30 microvolt. We have the sensitivity at this point is 25 microvolt. At this point, the sensitivity is, let us say, a 70 microvolt. So, in a tuning range, if my frequency is low, here, so your radio is more sensitive, and for the higher frequency, the sensitivity of the radio is a poor. So when you receive the signal between 530 to 950 kilohertz, then if the signal or the transmitting signal is weak, then also your radio is able to reproduce the output. But for the higher frequency, it requires more input signal to recover the information. Normally, if you have portable radio, portable radio receiver. It has a sensitivity of 150 microvolt. And if we have a communication receiver, communication receiver means the radio which are used for the R&D purpose, and it has a sensitivity in order of a few microvolt, a 1 microvolt. So this radio receiver are very sensitive. Basically, if you want to improve the sensitivity of the radio, then we have to increase the gain of the RF amplifier and the IF amplifier. In a portable radio receiver, remember, in a portable radio receiver, we do not have a RF amplifier, and that's why the sensitivity is poor. In communication receiver, the RF amplifier is there, so the sensitivity is good. The IF amplifier, if we have a 2-stage, 3-stage or 4-stage of the IF amplifier, then as the number of the IF amplifier will increase, then the sensitivity will also improve. So the sensitivity of the radio, it depends on what is the gain of your RF amplifier and a IF amplifier. Right? So here you can have a kind of a question that if I have a 2-3 radio receiver with a different sensitivity, one of the radio receiver has a sensitivity of a 10 microvolt, another one has a sensitivity of 25 microvolt, third one has sensitivity of a 100 microvolt. Then which is better? Then naturally the radio receiver with the 10 microvolt is better than the rest of the two, because it will require a very small amount of the signal to reproduce the output. Now let us see what is another characteristic of a radio receiver, that is a selectivity. So, selectivity. Now we know that the radio is receiving a different signal. If we have this radio, then at the input the antenna is there, and this antenna is receiving the signal from the different transmitters. Correct? Here the F1 is there, F2 is there, F3 is there, F4 is there. So all these different transmitter is inducing a current in the antenna. But out of all this, you want to listen via one particular station. Let us say that it is a F3. Okay? So we are interested. You are interested in a frequency F3. You want to receive the information from this transmitter which has a frequency F3. It means whatever the signal we have, F2, F4, F1 has to be rejected by the radio receiver. So how much amount of this rejection is there? Rejection of the radio receiver is there. It is called a selectivity of the radio receiver. So it is a ability of a radio receiver to reject the adjacent frequency. Or you can say unwanted signal. Otherwise, what will happen? If you are receiving the frequency F3 and some portion of the F2 or some portion of the F4 will be also received by the radio receiver, then you will get a kind of a interference between all the transmitter. So the whatever the adjacent transmitter is there, that frequency has to be rejected by the radio receiver, and that is known as a selectivity. Now this selectivity, it is represented with the curve. You cannot have a kind of a figure, but through this curve you can determine the selectivity of the radio receiver. Now let us say how we can measure the selectivity. Basically the selectivity depends on what? Remember, here at the input we have a tank circuit, correct? Then in the radio receiver we have a number of the tank circuit, that is in a IF amplifier. Now at the input of the radio receiver, whatever the tank circuit is there, this tank circuit has a quality factor. Already you know what is the quality factor. That quality factor Q is given by a resonance frequency by the bandwidth. So if we plot this curve for this resonance curve, then if you have the curve like this, then this is my a resonance frequency, or let us say that frequency which you are going to listen, this frequency is there, and the adjacent frequency, and this is the bandwidth. Remember, this is the bandwidth, correct? Let us say the adjacent frequency is, this is a f dash and f double dash is there. So this frequency is producing a maximum voltage. This frequency is producing a small amount of the voltage, but it is going to be entered in the radio, so you will get a kind of a interference. But instead of this, so here you can say the bandwidth is a large. The bandwidth is large, and this frequency are very near to this, so it can produce the signal in the radio receiver. But instead of this, if you have the curve like this, means the larger tube. This is a lesser tube. So if this resonance curve is like this, then whatever the adjacent frequency is there, it is out of the bandwidth of your tank circuit, and as a result this frequency is not able to enter into the radio receiver. We can say it is going to be rejected by the radio. So that is called a selectivity of the radio receiver. The selectivity of the radio receiver basically depends on what is the quality factor of a tune circuit. Now the tune circuit is at the input also, and the tune circuits are in the IF amplifier. Now because we have 2-3 stage and it is going to be tuned at a 455 kilohertz. So if the Q of this tune circuit is very high, then the selectivity of your radio receiver is good, that you can say. The adjacent frequency is not able to enter into the radio. Now let us see how we can measure the selectivity. The experimental setup. Experimental setup for the sensitivity and the selectivity is same, but the procedure is slightly different. What is the procedure? Here, remember that you have to tune your radio for one particular frequency. Let us say we are tuning a radio we have a tuning frequency. Here we have a signal generator frequency. Correct? My tuning frequency is, let us say, 950 kilohertz. I am tuning this radio there for a 950 kilohertz. And at that time my signal generator frequency is also a 950 kilohertz. So both the frequency is same. Again, here whatever the signal we apply to the signal generator, that must be modulating frequency is a 400 hertz, modulation index is 30%, and my signal frequency is 950. So both are tuned at the same frequency. Then you change the amplitude of the input signal, that is the signal generator, so that the power meter will indicate a 50 milliwatt output. 50 milliwatt output. So what will happen now? That you have to measure that how much minimum input signal is required to produce the 50 milliwatt output. So let us say this generator is required. This generator amplitude of this 950 kilohertz is a 50 microvolt. Again, my signal generator frequency is 950. The radio is also tuned at 950 kilohertz. We change the amplitude of the 950 kilohertz from the signal generator so that the 50 milliwatt output is present, and for that let us say my required input signal is 50 microvolts. Okay. Now what is the next step? Now we detune the signal generator frequency by amount of 10 kilohertz. So I will increase the 10 kilohertz as well as you can also decrease. So my next step will be what? That 950 plus 10 kilohertz, so it is a 960 kilohertz. The tuning frequency in a radio receiver will be as it is 950. So here this is now 960 kilohertz and this is tuned for 950. Then naturally the input frequency is different than the tuning frequency, so the radio has to reject that frequency. And whenever it is going to reject, means I require more input signal to produce the standard output of 50 microvolts. Correct? So here, when the signal is 960 kilohertz, again I will increase the amplitude of the input signal so that I will get a 50 milliwatt output. Let us say in this case my required input signal is a 120 microvolt. Then we detune the signal generator frequency again by 20 kilohertz. So it is a 970 kilohertz. So instead of 960, here it is a 970 kilohertz. If this radio receiver as it is positioned 950 kilohertz, so the difference between the two frequencies is very large, means the radio has to reject this. So due to that you require more input signal to produce a 50 milliwatt output. Let us say in this case my radio require a 250 microvolt. Means as your signal generator is going to be detuned from the tuning frequency, more and more input signal is required. Now instead of applying a 960 and 970, Now you apply a frequency of a 950 minus 10, so that is the 940 kilohertz. Detune the signal generator by 10 kilohertz. kilowatts. Correct? Then in that case, let us say my required input signal is, here we require the 120 microvolt. It is not necessary the same signal is required to produce a 50 milliwatt output. When my signal generator frequency is detuned to a 940 kilowatts, let us say we have a 110 microvolt is required to produce the 50 milliwatt. Then I am detuning this a 950 minus 20, so 930 kilohertz. And in this case, the required input signal is, let us say, a 260 microvolt. Okay? So, in this way, here you have to detune your signal generator by plus 10 kilohertz, plus 20 kilohertz, minus 10 kilohertz, minus 20 kilohertz, and you can calculate the attenuation. And if we plot this curve, so on the x-axis, we have a frequency f, and y-axis you can have a attenuation, and that will be in dB. How you can calculate the attenuation? Attenuation in dB you can calculate by a input signal VIS, that is the amplitude of the input signal at a 950 kilohertz, and amplitude of the input signal, or you can say a detune. This is a at 950. Correct? That is my standard one. So by taking this ratio, and then you take a 20 log VAS by VI, that is a detune signal, and you can measure this attenuation. Here, let us say this is a 950, 960, 970 kilohertz. Correct? Here it is a 940 kilohertz. Somewhere here 930 kilohertz. Or we can say this is a 0. We have detuned by 10 kilohertz, then 20 kilohertz. This is detuned by minus 10 kilohertz, minus 20 kilohertz. Then, if we plot this curve, then for the 950, the attenuation is 0. Correct? Here, if you calculate that, that is a 50 microvolt divided by 50 microvolt, log 1 will be a 0. So, this is my 0 dB. And for the rest of the point, if you calculate, then the curve is going to be like this. This is known as a selectivity curve. here you can see that if my signal is detuned by a 10 kilowatt, then this much amount of the attenuation will be there. Let us say it is a 30 dB. If it is detuned by a 20 kilowatt, then the attenuation is a 60 dB. Okay? So, whatever the adjacent signals are there, this adjacent signal has more and more attenuation. Now, if the selectivity curve, remember, if my selectivity curve is like this, you can say it is a poor selectivity. Because it is going to be a broad, and for this 940 or 960, the attenuation is very less. Right? So this adjacent signal is able to enter into the radio. If we have the selectivity curve like this, then it is a better one. Better selectivity. Okay? So selectivity, remember, it depends on RF amplifier as well as a IF amplifier. So in RF amplifier and IF amplifier, whatever the tune circuit we have, if the Q of this tune circuit is high, then you can have a good selectivity curve. So in the next lecture, we will discuss about a tracking error of a radio receiver.